Well, hello and welcome back to Morning Brew, where we talk everything about love, loss and grief together with Morning Brew and a spoonful of joy we've got here with us. So, Lindsey, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hiya, I'm Lindsey, with a spoonful of joy. Good morning, Jenny.
Yeah, good morning. So me and Lindsey have set Morning Brew and a spoonful of joy up together, and we're talking about all different things around grief and loss and ultimately love. And today we've got the lovely Natalie who's joining us from Finding Rainbows. So Natalie, could you please just explain the brilliant work that you do with Finding Rainbows?
So it's really nice that you just said ultimate love, because that is exactly what it is.
Oh,
you know, it comes from that place, and that's where it came from with me with Finding Rainbows. Just that ultimate love of a mother that I want to kind of carry on. His memory. So, you know, I know I'm jumping ahead, but my name's Natalie and I'm founder of Finding Rainbows charity. I set it up in 2013. Lost my little boy in 2012. He was born premature.
Yeah.
So when he was born, he was 1 pound 2.5 ounces. Yeah. A tiny little dog. And he was born that size because I had issues with blood pressure.
Right.
So it wasn't so much preeclampsia because I didn't have the swelling and things like that, but I was looked after at one hospital, and because my blood pressure wasn't controlled, my care was taken over by another. I'm not going to mention which hospitals they are, but the one I was looked after when I was around 20 weeks, they took me in for a scan and said, you know, due to the lack of control of the blood pressure, it's affected the placenta, and you know, it is growth restricted, so you're going to have to come in and have regular scans, weekly scans to check his growth. So that's what I did, and every single scan I went to, every appointment was just, didn't know if he was going to be with me or not. You know,
That's stressful in itself, isn't it?
yeah, of course it is.
So that was another journey, you know, that was the beginning of the journey of what I went through with it.
Yeah. So for anybody who's watching, going through that for you, sort of like the unknown, going for each scan, there's a pressure in that pregnancy there, isn't there?
There's a massive pressure, and you go home trying to be normal, trying to keep everything together.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you've got other children, knowing that you're carrying this babies quite poorly.
You're frightened of letting them feelings up as well, aren't you? Thinking everything you're thinking might be affecting the baby if you're stressed.
Yeah.
Or,
If you get stressed, or you know, if you know, even I know it sounds daft because I knew that wouldn't have been the cause of it.
No.
But even walking too far and getting out of breath and things like that, you think, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, and I need to be.
But that's reassuring for anybody who's watching, because these thoughts are real thoughts, and they're internal, aren't they? We internalise a lot of our thoughts when we're going through things. Yeah. And this is why we want to do Morning Brew, so other people out there might not feel like these thoughts feel normal.
I mean, if people are out there and they do have high blood pressure in the pregnancy, I don't want them to look at me and think, oh, you know, oh, is this going to happen to me? Because that's an absolute fear in every woman, you know, and mother. You know, as long as you're getting the right care and you're being looked after, you know, and you're on the right tablets, then, you know, they'll get you through your pregnancy. You know, the professionals out there. But sometimes, you know, things don't, you know, work out. It didn't work out for me and Caden, you know. So after going for all these scans, there was, you know, the doctor who looked after me was called Jo Gillen. She was absolutely amazing, and I'll never forget. And she used to make me laugh because she'd do the scan and he'd be kicking his legs, and quite an active baby doing somersaults and everything. I'd be chuckling because she was trying to get the measurements of it, and I could see her getting frustrated because he was just not having none of it. He was moving around. So the more I laughed, she was like, "You're not helping me either. He's not helping me, and you're not helping me, and I just can't get these measurements."
So he's a character already.
Yeah, he had a character already.
Yeah.
And she said to me, she said he needs to put on 110 grams within the next week or so. if he doesn't, then sadly he'll have to give birth to me, won't survive.
Yeah.
So that week, I can't remember, it was a week or 2 weeks she gave me, because it is a long time ago now.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was saying if he doesn't gain that, then we'd have to, you know, sadly give you medication for him to be brought up.
Yeah.
You know, got to this appointment this particular day, and she did the scan. She said he's done it. He's put on 110 grams. So the 110 grams he needed, and then we was at the, you know, time 26 weeks mark, where she said, "We'll prep you for surgery, take you down." You know, and Caden were born by caesarean section. Like I say, very tiny, 1 pound 2.5 ounces.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that time to cuddle him or anything. I had to wash him off.
Yeah.
Then he was on NICU. You know, and he was on NICU at St Mary's. And they were just, you know, Ted was his consultant. And we have meetings now, and he still remembers me.
Oh.
He still remembers Caden. You know,
That's
and think
nice.
about how many babies that they look after there at St Mary's. So that was really lovely to know that he remembers us.
But maybe because of all of the significant work that you've done since having Caden,
Yeah.
for other people.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know, you know, I obviously thought that Ted was doing his thing and, you know, didn't really know about finding rainbows or anything. But yeah, it was just nice. But we're part of, like, we do meetings like the neonatal network, and, you know, we join different meetings now, bigger meetings within the NHS. We're, you know, part of going into the rainbow clinics and things. But I'll tell you more about that when I'm... Yeah.
So since, like, Caden was born, and was he born? He was born sleeping, was he?
No, he wasn't. He was born. He was born, you know, breathing, but he had to have had to be intubated. So, you know, he was in intensive care, baby unit. You know, and every day was, you know, the NICU journey. You know, is another level. So going from the worry of the pregnancy to then him being born, and then being on the wards and basically living there and feeling torn as a mother, because you do when you've got a NICU baby, you've got 2 other children that you can't be with. So then you're there every day, and the doctor's saying, you know, it's 1 minute to the next, because it genuinely is, you know, he had 8 operations in his little short life. He contracted sepsis and necrotizing enterocolitis, it's called. Where it's the disease of the bowel, and he had to have some of his bowel removed in operation.
That's so much, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's sort of like the emotional toll of the pregnancy, and then, you know, being in care, you know, in intensive care, and then the operations on top.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like compounded, isn't it? It's layer upon layer.
And, you know, it is, you know, you just hold on to hope in NICU, because that's all you can do, is hold on to hope. You know, and to see other babies moving from the intensive care unit to the nursery and moving on, it does give you hope, but it also leaves you with this feeling of, as a mother in intensive care, why is he not moving forward? Why is he not off the ventilator yet?
You want that, so.
You know, you do want that, and it's hard. But you're happy for other people.
Yeah.
Of course you are. You know, I've still got some of my friends who look in, still on my social media, and we were like a little family. We looked after each other.
So this is where the inspiration for finding rainbows.
Yeah, Caden is the inspiration for finding rainbows, because, you know, we had to be blue lighted and washed all the head, due to him having fluid around the heart.
And how long was this after it was born?
So he was about, so he was 2.5 months when he passed away. So it was a week. Yeah, so it was like a week before he passed away when he got rushed. Because he was only there for the week to all the head. But it is still, I mean, you never ever want to forget what happened.
No.
You know, and you never want to lose that with the timeline. Sometimes can get a little bit maybe thought because you're in shock in that time as well. So we got rushed down to Old Hay and we did an operation. We drained fluid from his heart, but then we did go down on yeah, it cost around 15 to 18,000 as well. And the chaplaincy team and my bereavement midwife over there was fantastic. Definitely. Yeah.
That makes a difference.
It did. Huge difference. Yeah, because I knew, Kaylee kind of let me know when, because he was, the doctors and consultant are very, can sometimes be, well, we were at Old Hay and private practice was saying, this is where he's at. He's in organ failure now, there's no kind of coming back from this, and you need to think about, taking off life support. But I held on, and I don't know why. Instead of doing it straight away, I thought, no, I can't. He's going to let me know. Because I used to have this incubator where I could press this thing in my foot, and the lid would come up, so I could get him for kisses and, to just stroke his hair and, be with him, spend time with him. And this particular day, he was on all the top inotropes, so to keep his heart rate up and everything. This particular day when I went in to read one of his stories, Be Brave Little Penguin. His heart rate was just dropping, even though I was on full run. But I've been singing his songs to him as well. Adele was the last song I sang to him. Make me feel good. And as we were singing that, he started to, the numbers came down. So it was like he was letting me know. I'm tired now. And I took that from him. I thought, I'm not going to, I need to let you know.
I think we've talked about it before, like an energy exchange.
It was totally an energy.
And with that mother and baby connection, and there's an energy field.
It was a spiritual connection.
Yeah.
I mean, and he has brought that spiritual side out. And when I say spiritual, I do believe in Jesus and things like that. But it's more of an energy. It's more about the energies, and more about that kind of feeling that came to me with Caden. But he literally let me know, and I shouted, I said to the doctors, I think it's time. And then before I knew it, they were bringing this, it was the most bizarre feeling. He brought in this blue settee, pushing this settee in the room, and I'm thinking, what's going on? Because my head went with it. And then obviously his dad was called, and Dad came into the room, and then the doctor started taking him off, the ventilator and everything, and I panicked, thinking, is he going to struggle? Is he going to really struggle?
Is it going to suffer?
Is he gonna, So they took him off the wires, but took all the wires off him and just placed him in the arms. And I can't explain it to you. I should have been screaming. Felt like I should have been screaming from the rooftops, but I wasn't. And this sense of peace came over me, just being able to hold him in our arms.
Because you was protecting him while he was obviously his next journey.
So it was good. That was how, holding him. It was normal, no wires attached, no tube attached to him. And then Dad had a cuddle.
The most beautiful way to remember it.
And then Dad passed him back and he took 3 little breaths, like just 3 little sighs, and then he was gone. And then we just lay there and cuddled up on the settee and spent our time.
Yeah.
And
but
then,
that brought you comfort, that.
Well, talking about the next stage of that was obviously, it was spoken about quite quickly, and it took my breath really, like what's the next step for funerals, and to take that step, and it's like, what? In my head, I've just got him to hold, I think I was in shock, like, we went over to the, in Old Hay, they have like a big building where it's for the bereaved families, and it's
Yeah.
like a house inside there, you know. But I did, you know, they did say, do you want us to take him home? I'm like, no, I'm not letting him go, and I'm carrying him over.
Yeah.
But I didn't know we went down the back of the stairs, through the back, but then I had to walk through the main entrance of the hospital.
Yeah.
And I had him in my arms, and nobody knew. People were passing.
Yeah.
Nobody obviously knew. And I went through the main entrance, and then you go outside, and I remember saying, look, Caden, look at the sky.
Yeah.
And then realising, and I think that's when I, you know, my legs went a bit upset, and she grabbed hold of me. And then we went over to the, you know, the room where all my family were there. Like, I've got a big family, and they was all, you know, there.
What great support network.
Yeah. Well, I said to my brothers, like, where's Jade and Kyle? Where's my Jade and Kyle? They're like, well, we didn't know whether you'd want. I'm like, of course I want Mary, you know, this is the brother, they need to be here.
Yeah.
So my brother actually drove all the way back to Manchester to get them, bring them back, and that was the second hardest thing he had to do, was explain to them what happened, you know, because they don't understand, you know, sometimes there's a lot of questions in finding rainbows, like, how can I explain to my children?
Yeah, because they was looking for
Yeah.
to bring in their
Oh,
baby
yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
Well, you know, my son thought, because we was in a separate area, he was like, oh, we're taking him home,
Oh.
you know, and then to sit him down and say, you know,
No.
I explained it the best way you can, because sometimes with children so literal, and you just say, no, don't say they're in a cloud in the sky, and because if there's no clouds that day, then a child might think, oh, where's my brother or sister gone? So they take things very literal.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the time, I didn't say things that was factual, and I couldn't bring myself to say he's died, that word, or death. Or I found it very harsh. So I said, you know, Caden's had to go, he's passed away, his body couldn't get better.
Yes.
But his spirit's all around us, and he'll always be with us. You know, his energy's with us.
Yeah.
We just connected to him now in another way.
Yeah.
And I give them the option if they want to see him.
Yeah.
But I said, if you don't want to, you don't have to, but Mum's going to go in his back room and go and see him now.
And these decisions all have to be made quite quick, because there's
very
nothing that like prepares you for those decisions. So when maybe afterwards you think, have I done the right thing?
Yeah, you
not?
do.
And
You always question.
Yeah.
Always. Have I said the right thing to him? Have I done
I think we
right?
do that with every situation
Yeah.
in life. It's a crazy thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but they had my mum, you know, and they were crying and everything. It was horrible, because they literally broke down.
Yeah.
You know, my daughter was, I think my son was 12, no, my son was 10, and my daughter was 14.
Wow. So like older really to really understand.
Absolutely,
She may have been a bit younger. I think she was 14, my daughter, but and it was really difficult for them. And then I went in the back room and spent time with him. But I think being on NICU as well, we met a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we did help each other, and I think that's where it could have come from, subconsciously in me, like the need to want to help other people. And, you know, going through the journey of loss, sometimes, you know, you've got everybody around you. At the funeral, everybody around you, everybody's there, everybody's helping, and then everybody carries on with their life.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing.
That's when it hits.
That's when everything stops and you just think, where is everyone? Like, I'm still stuck in this place. I'm never going to get out of it.
Yeah.
So I used to go on walks with my dogs then. He was my little, you know, fur baby, and he looked after me, you know, no questions asked. He was there. So I used to walk him, drop the kids off at school, go just get myself lost and go on these walks. But I spiritually connected then to something more. I felt like he was around me, you know. And then I thought, what do I need to do? And that was when it was in me then. I need to set up this thing. I feel driven to do something, because although there's the big organisations, they weren't in our area, and it was travelling. You know, some people don't drive.
No, they don't.
That's true, and I think sometimes as well people struggle when they're grieving, like they struggle to travel or make themselves get up and go, and
Yeah.
they'll come up with every excuse. So if there's something on your doorstep,
Yeah.
it's, you know, the excuses sort of dwindle away, and you might find people who make